So we're back live with the afternoon session here, live in 11 Sports of the ATT Singapore National Table Tennis League 2018, and a chance to see one team we haven't seen so far on the TV table, and one we very much have. You're looking at Yu Tian of KTS on the far side in the light blue. He was involved in a rather one-sided affair ultimately against Ying Jing Yuan of Sun Sports Elite in the deciding rubber in our first match of the day. He went down in straight games, 1-12 and 7. He'll be looking to get back onto the winning trail against the youngster he faces here from the Sun Sports Juniors 2 team. And he's up against just trying to get confirmation of who's up against actually. Bear with me while I find that out for you. Yes, apologies. Shi Qijun he's up against here. From the Sun Sports Juniors, of course, the Sun Sports Elite team already with points in the bag and favourites to retain the crown they won 12 months ago in this incredible tournament here. 34 tables in action simultaneously, 92 teams, 1,000 participants, with about 1,000 more watching from the stands here at our Tampines Sub-Community Auditorium, Level 3. If you have got a chance to get down here either this afternoon or tomorrow, some great local table tennis action coming your way live on 11 Sports. So, a close encounter in this first game between KTS and the Sun Sports Junior 2 side. Advantage Li Tian now as he takes 2 points consecutively to build up a 6-4 lead in this first game. We'll update you with their standings as they come into us. Obviously, all the teams now have played 2 matches apiece. Just waiting for the updated tables to come in. Flurry of activity, our Tampines sub throughout the morning, and it will be so into the afternoon. We've still got one more game to bring you after this as well. You're watching KTS against the Sun Sport Junior 2 team. After this, scheduled for a 4 o'clock start time, give or take. It'll be a chance to see the New Century Table Tennis Club, who we just saw defeated in 5 matches by Safra's A team. They'll be taking on the defending champions and favourites to win again, Sun Sport Elite. Back to 6 each. Shi Qijun on serve. So Li Tian, who, speaking to Bernard Tan about it earlier, I'm sure by his own measures of expectation underperformed in his earlier rubber, and he's in danger with that wayward backhand of going a game down in this opening rubber in the latest match for KTS. Nip and tuck though, big point that for Liu Tian to get back to within 1. Still trails though with one more serve in this rotation to come. Oh, it went for an easy forehand there, but he just reached for it a bit. And it went long from Shi Qijun, and that's given Yu Tian a chance to get all square at 8 apiece. This time it's the turn of Yu Tian to go long. I get the feeling we might be on the brink of a juice game here. The way the pattern of this game has gone so far. Concentration etched on both players is indicative of what we've seen on all the tables so far. A great atmosphere here, young and old, men and women, able and disabled, all enjoying this festival of table tennis here at our Tampines hub. Massive credit to the Singapore table tennis players for getting this superb tournament together. Our thanks, of course, to our presenting sponsor, ATT Systems. Chuchos and Copytron and Anson, our platinum, gold and silver sponsors respectively. Delighted to be bringing you this on 11 Sports this weekend. We'll be back on air tomorrow again nice and early at 9:30 for the concluding stages. Oh, lovely shot on the forehand, but incredibly the defence of Shi Qishun does force the juice we thought might be the case 5 minutes ago. Nothing much between these two players at all. Remember, in their match we have 5 different ties, if you like. We go singles, doubles, singles, doubles, singles. And on both the games this morning, we went to the full 5 ties required to separate the sides as we get a second game point up for grabs for Liu Tian to try and close out the first. Yes, lots of conjecture and debate about sport in Singapore, but certainly in what we've seen on 11 in recent weeks, the hockey, the floorball, and now the table tennis and the badminton and even the squash, let's not forget that they're all sports in rude health as Liu Tian does close out the first game by 12 points to 10. So we get ready for the second game. It's Liu Tian, a game up, nearest to us in the light blue. Far side, Shi Qishun for the Sun Sports Junior 2 team. And he gets off to an impressive start with a well-won point against serve in this second game. The doubles that follows, incidentally, representing KTS in the doubles next, will be Yang Hai Tian and Shen Yu Tai. And for the juniors, it will be Keith Teo and Regis Ong. But which of those two teams will be going into that rubber, knowing their club has already got one rubber in the bag? Very strong start to this second game by Shi Qishun. Oh, service error from Liu Tian. He won't like that. Waste of a point. Trails 4-2 in this second game, having taken the first 12-10. Oh, that's a wayward forehand up in the air from Shi Qishun. Oh, lovely forehand, and you can see what that meant to Liu Tian. It levels it up at 4 each. Placed that perfectly. The power wasn't needed because the placement was so good. We trailed 3-0 early on in this game. He's still behind. Now just by 5-4 though. And with the younger players, of course, come the friends and family who tend to follow the younger age groups. And Shiku Shun has certainly got some supporters here in the auditorium. The experience of Liu Tian at the moment just holding sway here. And of course, KTS want these points as well. Shiku Shun on serve. Goes long, it's levelled up at 6 apiece. Just got to be careful this second game, doesn't get away from him. He starts trailing by 2. He's going to find it very, very tough indeed. We've got those latest batch of scores in. I can tell you that KTS won their second matchup. So KTS on a winning groove now. They managed to get the better of Sun Sports Leisure 3-2. So they've got 2 points on the board. In terms of how the Junior 2 side have come into this, well, they've lost their first 2 games both by a scoreline of 5-0 against their compadres Sun Sports Elite and Sun Sports Leisure. Of course, if there are multiple teams from one club, they all play their games first to get any possible suggestion of collusion out of the way. Not that we'd have that, of course. But they're belying the fact they've lost their first 2 games 5-0, these juniors, by putting up a very good display in this first rubber against Liu Tian, the experienced man from KTS. Oh, lovely shot from Liu Tian. Shiku Shun made a great effort, but it's level at 8 apiece, so we're heading for another juice game. Really concentrated Shiku Shun. Edges ahead at 9-8. One more serve from Liu Tian to come on this rotation. And he's managed to win both the points on Liu Tian's serve to bring up 2 game points to level it up here. Going to be fascinating to see how these youngsters get on. It's their first match of this 2018 Singapore National Table Tennis League against opponents from outside their club, so it'll be new experience for many of them, and it's one that Shiku Shun has relished there because he's taken the second game 11-8, and we're tied at 1 each. So we're back then with the third game, and it's Shiku Shun to serve. Strong start in this third from Yu Chan. It's a 3-point start for the man in light blue on the far side representing KTS. Lovely deception on the serve. Lovely serve from Shiki Shun. So a 3-point start for Li Jian has been responded to by a 2-point run. One on his opponent's serve, one on his own. Make that 2 on his own and we're level at 3 apiece. We've shown glimpses here, Liu Chan, of his class and quality, but very much like his opening match in the final rubber against Sun Sports Elites. We started incredibly slowly and was 11-1 blown away in the first game. Not consistent enough at the moment. And certainly he's not put this youngster away yet. Shi Qishun is certainly in with a chance here. And he certainly will be if they come up with many more service mistakes like that from Liu Chan. That was much more like it from Liu Chan. Lovely forehand across the table to level it up at 4 apiece. Net cord there. Goes long, Li Jian, another mistake, and now for the first time in this game, Xu Qishun edges ahead. Looking forward to seeing Tang Hua. He comes up in the second singles that takes place after the next doubles. He's against Daniel Ng. Tang Hua was arguably the performance of the TV table today so far when he came out on top of Zhang Dingji. 11-6, 4-11, 11-5, 11-8. Showed real glimpses of his class and quality. And this is some showing now. Shi Qishun is edging away in this third game. 3 games so far have been relatively tight affairs, but Liu Chan needs to find something here in the third. Stop his young opponent coming away with it. It's just not happening for Liu Chan now. A good start in this game. He raced into a 3-love lead, but since then he trails 8-1. Just 3 points from a 2-game-to-1 lead for Shi Qishun. Went for it there though, and it hits the net. Clench of the fist from Liu Chan. He's still got plenty of work to do though to force himself back into this one. Otherwise he could be going into the 4th game, needing to win both the 4th and the 5th to stay in this. And again, great disguise from Shi Qishun in his approach. Takes him to within 2 points of the game. Over by the net cord, and another point. It's 5-game point. It's looking like Liu Chan is going to trail 2-1 here. And he gets it done at the first attempt. Shi Qishun could be on the verge of a big win in his young table tennis career here. He takes the third, 11-5, and is 1 game away from a rubber point to his team, the Sunsport Junior 2s. Well, understandably, it's Shiku Shun that wants to get underway with things quickest. Watch Liu Qian got left in the locker to respond to this. Remember, it's a grueling schedule these paddlers are playing here. They've already played 2 games this morning, most of them. Of course, there is a squad system, but by and large, you see the same names on the team sheets, showing it over 2 days in many cases, with games to come tomorrow. There's 7 games in total in this Division 1 for each team. Some will play 4 today, 3 tomorrow, and vice versa. But Shiku Shun has really got the bit between his teeth. He couldn't quite get that one up back from Liu Qian. And his young teammates sending him off first might be a flash of inspiration from team manager Liu Qihoi, because they'll be looking at this and thinking if he can do it, so can we. And that's a delightful drop. The hand goes up. I wonder if there was a let cord there. There must have been. Oh, lovely spin on the serve, but it goes to let. Great disguising of his shots, Shiku Shun. Into the net that time. Still leads in this 4th though. Just needing 1 of the 2 remaining games to take the rubber for the Sun Sports Junior 2. And that's long from Liu Qian. Reminder, doubles up next. It's Yang Hai Chang and Shen Yu Tai against Keith Teo and Ri Jisong. They could well be coming to the table, Keith Teo and Ri Jisong, with their team a rubber in front here. Liu Qian still talking to himself. He wins the point, but he's not especially happy. Tied at 4 each now. Liu Qian finally finding his stride, but can he go through with it? He's shown glimpses of the player that he can clearly be. Just not consistent enough, and he's gone long again there. He just can't get his nose in front in this 4th game. And now, of course, the attention turns to whether Shiku Shun can hold his nerve. Lots on the line here. And again, Liu Qian is just not being accurate enough. Picks up a point there off the error from Shiku Shun. That only gets him within 1. And now we're tied at 6 apiece. So the youngster's temperament, all of a sudden we can start questioning. He's shown a fine temperament to follow through in the 2nd and 3rd games, 11-8, 11-5. Particularly that 2nd game where it looked in the balance for quite some time, but now the victory line is in sight. Can he get over it? He's been pegged back to 6 each here. Oh, lovely shot from Shiku Shun. That's the shot of the game so far. Delightful forehand. And Liu Qian's reactions, as good as they are, only good enough to deflect that out off the arena floor. And still, Shiku Shun stays in front. Every point now priceless for Liu Qian. Second one on this service rotation is being deceived again by Shiku Shun. And this game is slowly ebbing away from Liu Qian. At the Singapore National Table Tennis League Championships of 2018. Are we about to see youth beating experience? It looks very much like we are. That's 3 points without reply in Shiku Shun's favour. Just 2 points away from victory. What would be a huge victory for the Sun Sports Junior 2 team. Again, wonderful spin on the serve, puts him in the advantage point on the rally and enables him to close out with a delightful forehand that Liu Qian can't control. And it's 4 match points, Shi Kushan. Well, that's one of them saved pretty convincingly. He went for the backhand there. It's the forehand that's been doing the damage for Shi Kushan. Li Chang at times unable to live with it. Still 3 match points. Sun Sports Juniors 2. Great get from Shi Kushan. And he does the business. How impressive is that? Shi Kushan beats Li Qian 10-12, 11-8, 11-5, 11-7. And Sun Sports Juniors 2 will take a 1 rubber lead into the upcoming doubles that see Zhang Haiqian and Sen Yu Tai of KTS take on Keith Dio and Ri Jisong of SS Junior 2. Stay with us, that's up next. So underway with the doubles action, the second rubber in this match between KTS and the Sunsport Junior 2 team, who of course are in front now after that big success for Shikushun. Here on the near side for KTS, we've got the experienced hands of Yang Haiqiang and Sen Yu Tai. Now on the far side, the youngsters from Sunsports of Keith Teo and Ri Jisong. Of course, the experience on the near side of the table, as you look at it, vastly superior to the two youngsters on the far side. The question, of course, is whether they can emulate what Shikushun did in stunning circumstances, coming through in 4 games to defeat Liu Chan in the earlier rubber. Really high toss on that serve there. It's called a let. Do it all over again. Equally high toss this time. And they're just staying within touch here, Keith and Regis. By no means disgracing themselves in the early parts of this one. Now, big lead being manufactured by Yang and Sen. The youngsters still just about staying within touching distance though, and they're back to within 2 now. And that goes long, and they're being very ambitious, these boys. And when it's working, it is giving the more experienced team some troubles, but at the moment, they've got a job on to try and save this first game. Well, they could gratefully accept that. The service returns straight into the net. It's been misjudged. Still trail by 3, though. Goes long, it brings up 4 game points for the pairing of Yang and Shen. Oh, that just dribbled over a lucky net cord, but it matters not. You get the feeling they deserve that on merit anyway. And KTS with Yang and Shen take the first game against Teo and Ong of SS Juniors 2 by 11 points to 6 as they bid to level up this match 1 rubber each. So, almost good to go in this second game. First game going the way of Yang and Shen by 11 points to 6. Nearest to is Sunsports, Keith Teo and Ri Jisong. They serve first. Oh, they left the gate open, but KTS couldn't take advantage. high and out. And this is some start to this second game for Keith Joe and Regis Ong. Whatever adjustments they've made in the turnaround do seem to be working here. And again, confusion between the two KTS paddlers, and they've opened up a 5-0 lead here. And again, they're just being blown away here. This is extraordinary. What a turnaround from one game to the next. Oh, now this is where surely the experience comes in for Yang and Sen. Trailing 6-0. Need to stop the rot, and they won't do it that way. It's at 7. Well, we've yet to see an 11-0 so far this morning on the TV table. Closest we came was an 11-1 that Yingjing Yuan got against Liu Qian in the 5th singles rubber in the first match of the day. And we won't get one this time either. Finally, KTS on the ball, but with a big job on to take out this second game now, trailing 7-1. And they won't do it that way either, and you get the impression they might just sacrifice this game now and get straight back down to business on a level playing field with game number 3. Lovely attacking shot though from Yang. Went for an exaggerated wrist action there on that backhand, and it didn't pan out. Lovely shot. Backhand through the middle again, brings up 7 game points. This has been some turnaround in the second game here. First one goes missing, but now they get to play with the KTS serve. Can they pick a point up here? Not been a problem with them so far in this game. First one goes a begging though. So 2 have been saved, still 5 in the locker for Sun Sports. Make that 4. Maybe the nerves kicking in. At this point, it's a relief, I'm sure, for the 2 youngsters that they built up this sizable lead. Surely they can limp over the line in the second game here. Yes, they can. High, wide, and not so handsome comes the forehand, and we're level at 1 each. Keith Joe and Regis Ong take the second. 6-11. So, start of the third. It's KTS on serve with Yang Haiqiang and Shen Yu Tai, who are strangely subdued in that second game. They get off to a point-winning start in the third, though. Like these young bucks at the other end of the table, Keith Joe and Regis Ong. Oh, that's a bad misjudgment. Goes long, gets the boys on the board after losing the first 4 points. In the third. Oh, good adjustment with his body there, and the spin deceiving. Caught in two minds whether to defend or attack, and Keith Teo and Ri Jasong firmly back in game 3 now. Service mistake. No, it's been 3 so far, relatively one-sided games here. 2 in the direction of KTS and 1 to the advantage of Sun Sports Juniors. Just don't look altogether happy, do they? Yang Haiqian and Shen Yu Tai. Youngsters have got the self-belief and confidence to go through with this. You fancy they have half a chance, but they themselves just hesitating sometimes at the most inopportune of moments. It's a lovely forehand. Yang and Shen back on track with an 8-4 lead in the third. And it's another one-sided affair, this. Looks like very much KTS are going to take a 2-1 lead in this second rubber. Oh, that was a sensational forehand. Split the 2 paddlers from KTS. Still, though, 3 points adrift in this crucial third game. If they can't pull this one back, there'll be no more mistakes allowed, and they're going to now face 4 game points. Keith and Regis. And they only need 1 of them. So the third game goes to Yang Haiqian and Shen Yu Tai. And all 3 games have been decided by a scoreline of 11-6. But the crucial stat that matters is that it's Yang Haiqian, Shen Yu Tai, 2-1 in front of Keith Teo and Ri Jasong. Stay with us, 4th game up next. So 4th game, and it's the youngsters who take first blood. Quickly pegged back though by the experience of Yang Haiqian and Shen Yu Tai. Reminder, up next we've got Tang Hua and Dan Yueng. Tang Hua is put in one of the performances of the day so far earlier on in his singles victory in the first match we witnessed of KTS, although they did go down ultimately losing effort against Sun Sports Elite. Tang Hua did manage to win his singles. And another man who won his singles against Sun Sport Elite, Shang Shen. He'll be bringing up the rear, playing the 5th leg of this match with the SS Junior 2s. And obviously we got, after this, Tang Hua, then a doubles match, and then Shang Shen in the last singles for KTS. Shang Shen will be taking on Jaden Fu. Meanwhile, maybe just now the experience beginning to tell for Yang Haiqiang and Shen Yutai. They certainly had a wobble in the second game and even in parts of the third, but they now look set to hopefully go to victory, hopefully from a KTS perspective, and level up this match one rubber apiece. When the KTS have won one and lost one, they've lost to Super Sports Elite. They've picked up a victory since then. At the moment, and it's a tie for first place. Safra 1 and Sun Sports Elite, both having played 2 and won 2. And we'll see Sun Sports Elite in action next in our final match of the day on the TV table here on day 1 of the ATT Singapore National Table Tennis League 2018, as they take on the New Century Table Tennis Club 1. Timeout called. No surprise really, trailing 6-2 in the fourth. Can the Sun Sports youngsters of Keith Teo and Ri Jazong possibly turn this around? We'll find out very shortly. So, trailing 6-2, can the Sun Sports boys find a spurt after the timeout, or will KTS pair march to victory? Well, how many times have we seen that this morning and this afternoon? A timeout immediately gets a response from the team that called it. They still trail 6-3 though in the fourth and 2-1 in games. And that shot into the net. At this point in proceedings, they just cannot afford any cheap points away. 4 points of victory then, Yang Haiqiang and Shen Yutai. And that's one of them. Just overpowering the youngsters now. I'm sure we'll learn a great deal from this experience. And of course, the match is by no means dead, because Shi Qishun's big win against Liu Qian in the opening singles rubber means we'll go to the second singles between Tang Hua and Daniel Ng, all square at one rubber apiece. And good to see the boys, if they are going to go down here, going down with a bang rather than a whimper. And it goes to show the respect Yang Haiqiang and Shen Yutai have got for these opponents, that they're not taking this for granted. A little chat between the two paddling mates. And it did the trick as well, because it now puts them just 2 points away from victory. Great save. Well, what a point to win. Might be too little too late, but these Sun Sports paddlers all through the squad today. They've been on the end of heavy defeats against their Sun Sports teammates already today, but they're showing plenty of determination. And hello, all of a sudden, just like that, it's 9-7. Is it too little too late? 2 big service points coming up for Teo and Ong. Win them both, and the game could be back on. Lose one, and they'll be facing match points. And that's the respect they're being treated with here, whether it was an icing or not. At Tang Hua's insistence, I think. He's on next in the singles, remember. Hang Yai-Tai and Shen Yutai call timeout, leading 9-7 and 2-1. So after that timeout, can Yang and Shen close it out on the Keith and Regis serve? Well, my word, they've got to within one here. Well, all of a sudden, it looked like they were strolling to victory 5 minutes ago. Now, they'll be happy to fall over the line. Can they level it up now, the Sun Sports boys? Yes, they can. It's 9 apiece. Well, where has this table tennis come from? And have Yang and Shen lost the thread of success? They've not even manufactured a match point yet. It was 9-6 just moments ago. And in fact, now they'll face a game point to go to a 5th. Well, questions being asked of themselves here. Just long. That's a relief for Yang and Sen, who now at deuce have a chance at least to try and fashion the match point that eluded them in regulation. Again, more communication. Certainly more communication in the last 6 points of this game than there's been in the entire rest of the match between the two paddlers. Oh, what a chance to get one off the edge for KTS. The hand went up to apologise straight away, and what a way to bring up match point. Can Keith Joe and Regis Ong possibly save this? Remember, they won 4 points on the spin post the KTS timeout. It goes long, and they finally get over the line, but oh boy, was it a struggle in that 4th game. Yang Hai-Chien and Shen Yu-Tai beat Keith Teo and Regis Ong of S Sun Sports Junior 2s 11-6, 6-11, 11-6, 12-10, but the youngsters accredit themselves fantastically well, and now we'll be able to see how the youngster from Sun Sports Junior 2, Daniel Ung, does against the KTS paddling machine, Tang Hua. That's next on Table 18, the TV table, live at 11 Sports. It's ATT Singapore National Table Tennis League 2018. Stay with us. So we're underway, and more signs that Tang Hua is in the kind of form he was in earlier today when he was a big winner in the matchup against Zhang Jingjui. He won that one 3-1. There's going to be a big job on for Daniel Ng to try and get something from this, because Tang Hua is one of the finest paddlers we've seen on the TV table today so far. And he's already showing his class, opening up 4-0 lead in a matter of 60 seconds. That was a good get though from Daniel Ng, and he deservedly gets on the mark with a point there. Nice and good defensive and containing play. Second serve for Tang in this rotation, and that net cord helped him there to open up a 5-1 lead. Every indications are this is going to be a quick one, but we've said that before, haven't we? We fancy Liu Chang would make short work of Shi Qinjun, and we know what happened there. The youngster from the Sun Sports Junior 2 team picked up the rubber, and this game, of course, is underway with the teams locked at 1 rubber each after that victory for Shi Kan was followed by a doubles victory for KTS, Bian Hai Chiang and Shen Yu Tai. Also worth remembering that he was equally impressive, Tang Hua, in his opening game against Zhang Jingji, but managed to get blown away somehow in the second 11-4 before completing the victory 5-8. And here again, having looked very strong early, he's been pegged back to 7-4. First time in the match that Daniel Ng's managed to win 2 points consecutively. Now he needs to try and win another one on his own serve. And he does just that. So maybe just nerves early on for Daniel Ng, and they've settled down now. Look at the spin off that serve from Tang Hua. Having all kinds of problems with the Tang Hua serve is Daniel Ng. And just like that, it's back to a 4-point gap of 9-5. Did appear to switch off in that second game earlier this morning, Tang Hua. So it'll be interesting to see how he comes out in the second here. That's assuming, of course, he closes out the first. Still a bit of work to do for that, because he's now only leading by 2. But he gets the 3 game points now after that long forehand from Daniel Ng. And he gets it at the first time of asking. Tang Hua takes the first game 11-7 against the youngster Daniel Ng, and KTS with the advantage in this third rubber in their matchup against the Sun Sports Junior second team. Lovely rally to start the second game, and it's the youngster that comes out on top, Daniel Ng. Let call, there's another ball on the floor under the table from an adjoining table. Just not quite got the consistency yet, Daniel Ng, has he? But tell you what, you wouldn't want to pick the winner of these two if they played again this time next year. Some of these youngsters are progressing at a frightening rate in Singapore table tennis. And Cheng Hua, something to call all of his reserves of energy here. Certainly he's not making the same mistakes he made in his earlier matchup when he was a bit relaxed in the second game, having won the first quite convincingly. But I think Daniel Ng showed him in the first game that he needed all the respect in the world shown to him. Just too many cheap points really being getting out from Daniel. Ball's going into the net. Just trying to be too cute too quickly on occasion. And again, that's the second consecutive one that's gone into the net. The old look at the bat, which I don't think is ever a good sign. Starts to get into your mind that it's your equipment letting you down, when in reality that solutions sometimes can be found a lot more simply than that. Still timeouts to play, of course, if it comes to that late on. Oh, he set one up beautifully for Cheng Hua, who put it away with aplomb. And just like that, he's 8-2 in front, and this game is rapidly racing away from young Daniel Ng. That's let and out. Oh, look at that backhand. Wrist action brings up 9-3. Cheng Hua now going through his gears. Good forehand from Daniel Ng. Stops the rock to get it back to 9-4. Just too good on occasions though, Cheng Hua, isn't he, when he needs to. He's pulling out the shots and really stretching Daniel Ng. Will learn a huge amount from playing a player of Cheng Hua's class on the international stage. 6 game points to make it 2-0. And he gets it at the first time of asking. So Cheng Hua leads 2 games to love, 11-7, 11-4, and is 11 points away as it stands for giving KTS a 2-1 lead with 2 to play in this matchup against Sunsport Junior 2. Stay with us. Well, 2 disappointing points to start for Daniel Ng. And Cheng Hua seems intent on finishing this one off very quickly. Coming up to 20 past 3 in the afternoon local time here in Singapore. Up next, it's the doubles clash between Li Meng Cheng and Wu Jia Kui, and David Wu and Chao Wan Kang. So 6-1 lead for Cheng Hua, who we saw earlier on going through his gears. Daniel Ng's going to learn a lot from this experience, but this game I think's come a little bit too soon. But just as he did in his match this morning on the TV table, Cheng Hua with the occasional shift of taking his eye off the ball. Let called on that serve, but 5 points now from victory. Now make that 4, and of course if it does come down to that, the points differential, you want to make these victories as heavy as possible. Reminder, the doubles next coming up for KTS. We have Li Ming Cheng and Wu Jai-ki up against David Wu and Ching Wan Kang of the Sun Sports Juniors. 8-3 here. And Chang Hua at the moment looking like he's going to have no problems getting over the finish line whatsoever. And that will give, should he complete this comprehensive victory, a 2-1 lead for KTS in this matchup against Sun Sports Juniors. So two, of course, already lost their earlier 2 games this morning, both by 5-0 scorelines, although there have been signs that there's some real talent in their squad here. Shi Qishun, in particular, with that winning 4 games against Liu Chan, a particular highlight. 6 match points for Chang Hua. And he gets it done first time of ask. Get a comprehensive win. The doubles is up next with KTS leading the Sun Sports Junior 2 team 2-1. And do stay with us because Bernard Tam will join me on commentary for the doubles shortly. So here we go then, the doubles is underway, and it's a big rubber for the boys from the Sun Sport Junior 2 team because it's a rubber they have to win. They trail 2-1 after that great start from Shiki Shun, taking out the opening singles. They've lost the subsequent doubles and the singles match won just previously by Tang Hua. So now Li Ming Cheng and Wu Jiaqi of KTS taking on Sunsport Juniors, David Wu and Ching Wan Kang. And I'm delighted to say Bernard Tannis just joined me. Bernard, you just come hot-footing it from the Safra A match, which is against Safra 2 over on table 15. How did that go?
That is correct.
Are you in front?
We are leading 4-0 now.
Oh, so the points are in the bag.
Yes. So,
which means you'll have taken 4 points from 6 today. Only 3 games for you today.
yes.
Okay. So big chance still for you tomorrow. And of course, I'm sure you'll be interested in the game that comes up next on the TV table, which pits the champions, the defending champions and favourites this year, Sun Sports Elites, against the New Century Table Tennis Club, who you beat just before lunchtime. But now we must focus on here. What happened to the ball there? I think they lost track of it. Now, you're going to have to help me here in terms of which player is which. You might not know the Sun Sports Juniors. Can you advise me on the KTS players which is which?
Yeah, Jiaqi is Wu is the guy on the with the right-hander.
Wu is the right-hander, right? He's nearest to us, yeah. So we've got a righty and a lefty. Again, in table tennis parlance, is that an advantage in a doubles team if you have one right, one left in the side, or?
Yeah, traditionally, if you have a left-hander in a doubles setup, it'll be better because in terms of the movement, it's more convenient. So I think in this match, both has a southpaw, the left-hander, and one right-hander, so it makes movement easier. But I think on paper, KTS, Li and Wu would probably steamroll themselves to victory.
Yeah, well, we thought that with Tang Hua, which was very much the case, but Liu Chan, I know you missed that, you're obviously playing at the time. Must also mention that this very quickly has gone 8-3 in the first game in Wu and Chen's favour. But that scoreline surely impressed you. Shiki Shun beating Liu Chan. Lost the first game 12-10, then won 8-5 and 7, which is really impressive stuff.
It was a very good victory for them. But this Sun Sports Junior team has got some interesting youngsters in their lineup. I think in the next 2 years, they'll probably be one of the most promising teams in the league. Yeah, I was just saying that as well in commentary, that the advantage and experience they'll get for playing in events like this as well is invaluable, isn't it? Playing up against great players like yourself and others. 6 game points now to the team from KTS in a doubles rubber that if they win it, the 2 points will be guaranteed ahead of the final single between Shang Sheng and Jaden Fu. Already seen Shang Sheng in action, of course, earlier today. He was a winner in 5 games against Joseph P. Remember that game? That was an absolute marathon, so I'm sure he'll be hoping for an easier time in his second game of the day. Oh, just couldn't. I would favour KTS to pick up the last 2 ties through this particular doubles and the last singles, Changzhen. I think the Sunsport Junior team is still a bit young, lacks experience, and I think this experience that they have playing in this Division 1 league now will help them in the years to come.
Well, they've already saved 3 game points. They couldn't save a 4th. And Cheng and Wu take it out by 11 points to 8 and are on their way, one feels, to a victory that will confirm KTS with 2 points in the bag. Another 2 points to add to their tally of 2 already. So, just having a chat off mic around there with Bernard about the permutations of tomorrow, who's going to win the crown. I mean, I think we've already heard from Bernard that he thinks it's a 3-way duel really between the defending champs Sun Sports Elites your Safra A team, and the other team you put in the mix would be KTS, would it? Or
Exactly, it'll be KTS. I'm not sure how Safra 1 is faring because this morning they beat Safra A. So they've
won 2 games. They've won both their matches. Safra
in the
1
morning,
so far.
right?
They've won both their morning matches.
So maybe Safra 1 could be in the hunt as well.
Yeah, Safra 1. They're currently in action over on table 17 against the New Century Table Tennis Club, who you were just telling me are now in possession of one of their better players who missed the game with you, luckily for you, and has now arrived. Which
he has arrived. He has already won his tie between himself and Ryan Go.
That's interesting, and of course we'll see him hopefully next on the TV table when they take on the Sun Sport Elite, and that's a boy that's just hot-footed it from the Singapore Sports School, so a top paddler on the way. Meanwhile here, second game, and all of a sudden, where have the Sun Sports boys found this form from? They're threatening to draw level here.
Yes, Sun Sports Junior, this doubles team, it's David and
Ching Wan Kang,
right?
Yeah. Ching.
And I think they have acquitted themselves quite well in the second game, I think. But maybe the KTS partners have lost a bit of focus in this doubles match. But certainly I think Sunsport has got very good juniors in this junior team, and I think they will be giving their opponents a run for their money if they're not so careful.
And in terms of the league, obviously it's an annual event. Am I right in thinking there's promotion and relegation here as well? So the teams that top the groups in Divisions 2 will get a chance to test themselves in Division 1 next year.
That's right. So the bottom 2 teams of Division 1 will be relegated to Division 2, and Division 2 will have the top 2 teams come up to the Division 1.
And is that based solely on this event? So it's just an annual event, right?
That's right.
But you obviously have other mini leagues and competitions within the clubs for the rest of the year.
I think I understood from the organisers that in the future we're probably trying to expand the league a little bit. Now it's held over a weekend, but we're in talks to discuss with the various clubs to see how we can make a longer window of a competition for all the players.
Certainly so. Well, we know there's an appetite for table tennis in Singapore. Today certainly proved that. It's packed to the rafters here at our Tampines hub. 9-7, so the boys just struggling to get over the finish line here in this second game, and now all of a sudden a burst from Wu and Chen have got them back to within just a point. But now they will have 2 game points. That was a rally that showed the Sun Sports boys maybe a little bit wobbly trying to get across the line, but they'll get 2 opportunities now to level this up at 1 game apiece. Chen serve, not good enough, and they leveled it up, but that's going to go down as a bit of a shock, hasn't it, Bernard?
Well, I'm surprised. I'm not really surprised that Sunsport has managed to get 1 set of the KTS team, because I think the KTS team may have taken it a bit too relaxed in the second game. I think the coach would have made sure that his players would be more focused in the third game from now on.
Yes, I suppose when you're playing this much table tennis in a day, concentration can sometimes play a part, but we shall see. Certainly the Sun Sports boys full of energy and enthusiasm, and they'll come back to the table in a moment at 1 game apiece. So, third game, can they continue that good work? Bernard and myself just had a look over our shoulders to see what was happening on table 17, where it's not, what are you saying, Bernard? You can tell me on mic, it's okay.
Well, it's not happening on table 17. Sunsport Elite is playing on table 16 now.
Ah, right. I know, so I was looking, yes, I was looking at that game between Safra 1 and New Century. That right. Is on 17, I think, yeah.
Yeah, 16 is Sunsport Elite with another Sunsports team, I think.
Okay, all the Sunsports teams playing each other, getting those out the way on day 1. Meanwhile, look at this start they've made here to the third game, the 2 youngsters David and Ching.
Well, it's always like this with the youngsters, isn't it? They are usually like up and coming, and sometimes they will deliver and sometimes they may not deliver. And I think when the youngsters sense an opportunity, they may go in to seize that opportunity and try to acquit themselves as well as they can.
Well, they nearly threw away that game-winning opportunity in the second, didn't they? They had a 5-point break before just about getting over the line, 11-8. Now, having led 3-0, they've given up 4 points on the spin to now trail in the third.
I think KTS has the better players, but they've got to be careful because the Sunsport junior team is no pushover. I think they would be pushing the KTS team to the maximum as they need the points. And if they get this, it will be 2-all, I think.
Yeah.
And it's down to the wire in the last game. And who knows, you know? In
You
any
never know.
rubbers.
But Zhang Zhen, I'm sure, will be a formidable opponent for Jaden Fu. What do you know about Jaden Fu? His name rings a bell. I'm just wondering whether I've seen him on the 11 Sports Travels on the junior circuit. We've done some table tennis tournaments at the sports school and at the table tennis centre. It's the National Table Tennis Centre at Topayo, isn't it?
I would like to think Jaden may have participated in some of these competitions. Jaden is a young athlete. He's about 14 or 15 years of age. And he was certainly one of Singapore top juniors in the under-12 category 2 or 3 years back. So I think he has blossomed a little bit and probably will give Zhang Zhen some fight, but my bet is still on Zhang Zhen winning the last tie.
Yeah, Zhang Zhen was very impressive this morning, wasn't he?
Well, I think the KTS team is making sure that they actually head off to victory with this doubles pairing.
We saw with Liu Qian, he took the first game 12-10, then all of a sudden before he knew where he was, he ended up losing the match 3-1. So it's important that KTS, I'm sure, put this to bed as quickly as they can, and then the singles will only be a matter of pride and points difference for Xing Shang and Jaden Fu.
Indeed, indeed.
Went for it big time there. Did David Wu, didn't quite work out. So they're 2 points away, KTS, with Li Meng Cheng and Wu Jie-Kui, to making it 2-1. And they forced the error. The forehand was just too long. So 4 game points, and this has been a very quick game. It's flown by. Oh, lovely forehand put away,
Yeah,
and that's that.
Great point by KTS. And now they take a 2-1 lead in this doubles. And I'm sure they will try to close off the game in the fourth game as much as they want. Hopefully, Sunsport Junior will provide some resistance and maybe take this to the rubber as well.
Certainly, it's obviously been a long morning for them. They lost their 2 games against their Sun Sports brother and sister teams 5-0, but they've acquitted themselves well here and have already, of course, got 1 match on the board with that Shiki Yun Tai victory. Meanwhile, a reminder coming up after this match between KTS and Sunsport Junior 2, a really interesting clash between Sunsport Elite and the New Century Table Tennis Club. That's immediately to follow after the conclusion of this tie and the final singles rubber of this match between KTS and Sunsports Junior 2. So, what can Sunsports Juniors do about this? First point to Chen and Wu. It's been very relaxed, Chen and Wu, haven't they? I mean, the fascinating thing watching some of these teams and players is the different body language. Some players are so relaxed compared to others. I saw your doubles partner, Alan, was getting really into it at times. Obviously, he's going through the pain barrier as well. You're a bit more relaxed and focused. He's very
He's more
emotional.
hyped up. I am almost done with table tennis, I think.
You're a silent assassin. So that's Chen with the serve that gets it done, 3-1.
There was an excellent backhand by the KTS pairing. I think they're going to pull away from the Sunsport Junior pair. Ooh, that was a fantastic backspin serve.
Too long. Went for the big forehand finish there, did Li Mingcheng. But instead of 4-2, it's 3 each.
He's got to stay focused, because if he doesn't focus, right, I think when the Sunsport junior team comes to calling, it will be pressurizing for the KTS pair.
Yeah, plenty of smiling and laughing and joking by the KTS boys, but need to keep focused to an extent. They are still with their noses in front here. Opening up now, as you predicted, Bernard. Now the gap starting to appear. Some great noise going on the tables to my right. There's two of the teams cheering every point as it goes across. 34 tables in action today, over 1,000 players.
And I think the competition is really strong throughout the 6 divisions. And
so.
there must be some favorites in each division. And I think when the competitive teams play each other, you get a lot of support coming from their own teams, their supporters as well.
And with 92 teams, 1,000 people playing, probably another 1,000 watching as supporters, family and spectators, it makes for a lot of noise in this Artamini Sub-Community Auditorium. I wouldn't have thought the auditorium here would have been as full as this since its opening a couple of years back. Meanwhile, back to the game in hand here, and they've closed the gap to just 1, Bernard. Every time KTS look like they're going to pull away and win comfortably, Sunsports do put up some resistance. And look at that, they've leveled it up.
Yeah, they've leveled it up, man. And I think KTS obviously needs to stay focused and make sure that they deliver the strategies as instructed by the coach.
That went long.
Oops.
Oh no, did it hit the edge there? I missed that.
Yeah,
My view was obscured. Did it hit the edge?
It clipped the edge.
I thought it had gone long, but it was the edge, and it's put them in front for the first time in game 3. And all of a sudden, just like that, having trailed 6-3, they're 9-7 in front and 2 points away from taking us to a decider. It's extraordinary. Oh, what a shot that was. A sensational forehand from Wu Jai-ki. Shot of the day.
That was a fantastic shot.
Still
under such pressurizing circumstances, to deliver that forehand was nothing short of spectacular.
Oh, they've given it up. They had this 4th game within their reach, but now it's either going to be have game point or face match point. What's it going to be? It's going to be face match point. The KTS boys get their act together and put it out the bag when it counts. Match point KTS.
Ooh, that was a brave shot by the Sunsport Junior pairing, and brings the 2 teams to a deuce at 10-0.
Whose nerve's going to crack here? Oh, lovely shot. What a return. How did he get it back? How did he get that back? That was absolutely his teammates applauding him. What a shot that was from Wu Jai-ki. Shot of the day. And that wraps it up. Well, I wish we had the replay machine here, because I would want to see that again. How did he pick that one up, Bernard?
I think he's a fantastic player with great mobility, and I think his reflexes are really good. These are the hallmarks of a good doubles player.
He practically picked that one off the floor. So Li Mingcheng and Wu Jai-ki win 11-8, 8-11, 11-6 and 12-10. That confirms the 2 points in the bag for KTS, but we've still got the final rubber. The singles clash between Shang Sheng and Jaden Fu. That'll be up next on the TV table shortly. And don't forget, after that, we've got the final match we'll bring you on this day 1 of the ATT Singapore National Table Tennis League 2018, as we see the defending champion Sunsport Elite take on one of the other warm order favourites, the New Century Table Tennis Club. Stay with us for that. We'll have a watch of Zhang Zhen and Jaden Fu warming up, and then we'll be back with commentary on this final rubber. So here we go then. Really looking forward to this single matchup between Sheng Sheng and Jaden Fu. The match may already have been won by KTS, but it can still come back to count back and points difference, and it's a strong start from Jaden Fu. Got himself in a bit of a tickle there though. So Sheng Sheng on the board on his own serve, let called, ball on the arena floor from an adjoining table. Well, strong start from Jaden Fu as Bernard rejoins me in the commentary position. Very interesting match here. Both these players they like to go for their shots. And it's leading to some very quick points indeed.
Well, I've not seen Jaden play for about a year or two. And from the looks of it, he has improved quite a lot actually. Could be a stiff challenge for Chang Zhen in this final.
Obviously Singapore, table tennis, incredibly popular sport. We're seeing today how many people play it, but at the elite level, the sort of top level that you're involved with as a player, Bernard, I mean, do you pretty much know most of the players out there, or does it still surprise you come across players at this level that you've not come across before?
I mean, if they are local players, probably I know like 80-90% of them. If they are elite players, probably like 100% of them actually. Because we always do an analysis of our opponents, and
so
we try to make sure that we
I
cover
find it interesting. When you say analysis, what, you've got videos or you watch, or how does it work?
No, we've got like many club members who are like coaches or who act as chaperones for teams who play in different competitions, and they will give us information that, hey, this player is up and coming, you know, you have to take a closer look at him. So when we are out for competitions, we will always look at such players.
So this will be one of the highlights of the domestic calendar, certainly. But what are the other highlights in terms of, as a club, the Safra club, across the year in table tennis? You have other big events that you look forward to and highlights on the calendar?
Our Safra Table Tennis Club organizes a annual competition. It's held in March each year. There is the age group competition, but there's also a men's team event. It's an open event, so the best players come to play in this competition as well.
Well, it's blinking, you'll miss it now. I'm very interested to know about the local table tennis scene. But meanwhile, Sheng Sheng takes that first game 11-5, I think. So that was in a matter of 3 or 4 minutes.
That was a quick victory by Chang Zhen, I think.
And do you travel as a club outside of Singapore to take part in competitions as well?
Yes, we do. We travel regionally. We go to places like Indonesia, Thailand, Malaysia for competitions as well.
Busman holidays kind of thing. So
well, it normally happens over a weekend or starting on Friday night, and I think our players sometimes make quite a lot of sacrifices because some of them work, some of them have school to attend.
Yeah.
And you know, once the competition is over, we catch a quick meal and we're back in Singapore because the next day we've either got to go to work or school.
But it's a great social element. I can see that from looking around this packed hall today, and obviously all levels, all ages, all sexes, all abilities, and everyone. You know, it's a real great social sport, isn't it? Lots of youngsters banding around who will make friends with table tennis that they'll keep for the rest of their life.
Indeed. I think Sun Sport has also quite a strong and formidable team. They obviously have been also participating in regional competitions as well.
And here's one for you, and I don't like getting controversial, but it's something I always bring up when we're covering Singapore Premier League football and whatnot. Sort of the racial divide when it comes to football in terms of it's largely the Malay community. And what is it you think about table tennis that lends itself to the Chinese, the Singapore Chinese being so into it? Is it just a cultural thing, do you think, in terms of table tennis because it's predominantly strong in China, it sort of filters down to the Singapore Chinese as well?
I think it's a traditional thing. Like the schools who encourage table tennis, there are mainly Chinese schools of old. For example, Chinese High is strong in table tennis.
Yep.
But in recent years, Raffles Institution has gotten onto the bandwagon as well. They're pretty strong. And now we have the Singapore Sports School. And you were asking whether it was a Chinese sport. I think most of the parents in the past were Chinese players.
Yes.
Right? And when their children are out, they will also encourage their children to play. So it's like a family tradition to play table tennis, actually.
It is incredible, though. I suppose you have the same thing in England, certainly, and you know, things like tennis, lawn tennis is a sort of rightly or wrongly regarded as an upper class sport or an upper middle class sport. You have, it's just the way I think things work out. The ethnic splits in football in Singapore and in table tennis and lots of other sports as well I find very interesting. But having said that, as you say, table tennis is a huge sport across the region. It's very popular in Thailand, Japan, Korea. Some of the events we've covered here have had Korean and Japanese teams entering as well.
Yes, indeed. I think we've got many of the powerhouses of table tennis are, of course, Japan, Korea, China, and you will see many of the players coming out to play competitions in the region as well.
At the moment, though, we're very much focused on Singapore table tennis. It's the ATT Singapore National Table Tennis League 2018. Our thanks to our presenting sponsors, ATT Systems, our platinum sponsor, Tagehouse, and of course, Copytron, our gold sponsor, and Anson, our silver sponsor. And while I've been being educated on the histories and the goings on in Singapore table tennis by our wonderful co-commentator Bernard, I can see that Jaden's about to go 2 down here. Zheng Zheng just got a little bit too much for him.
I think so. I think Jaden is probably an up-and-coming player, but Chang Chen is a really solid player, you know.
Yeah, he takes out the second 11-6, so it looks very much like it's going to be a comprehensive win at the end, but great experience for all these youngsters having the opportunity to play at this level.
I think indeed it's a very good day for table tennis in Singapore. In this league, you see a wide variety of players. You are not talking about the mainly Chinese population. We do have some Indians playing. We also have some Malays playing.
No, I'm not. I wasn't saying it was sort of an exclusive thing.
Yeah, it's not exclusive.
You know what I mean? It's just interesting. There's no sort of what's the word? There's no sinister undertone to that. It was just an interesting observation, similar to the football in the other regard, where you have there are some Chinese Singaporeans playing in the Singapore Premier League, but nowhere near as many as Malays. It's the opposite kind of sign here. And the irony is both sports take equal amounts of dedication and commitment. It's not like it's easier to play table.
No, I wasn't referring to that. I wanted to highlight that actually the league, it's an all-inclusive league.
Yes, very
we
much
not only
so.
have the Chinese population, we have many other races playing.
Yeah.
And we also have the para-athletes playing as well.
Yes, I noticed that, which is fantastic as well. And sort of men, women, boys, girls, older ladies, older gentlemen all here. It's fantastic. I mean, to your point, I think I was busy, to sort of reiterate myself, I think I was maybe talking more about the elite level at this level. The wonderful thing, as you quite rightly point out, and you're very right to point out, around this room it's a kaleidoscope of every creed, colour that Singapore's got to offer, and everyone having a great time all brought together under the banner of sport, which is fantastic.
And now Chang Chen has raised to a 3-1 lead in the third game. And I think he's aiming to finish this in the shortest possible time. Judging by his body language, I think he's in a quick hurry to try and finish this.
They've been so quick in these last 2 games, KGS. We're almost back on schedule. It's coming up to 5 to 4 local time. The final game of the day is due to start at 4 o'clock. And by the way, do stay with us for that, because that promises to be an absolute cracker between the New Century Table Tennis Club and the Sun Sports Elite team. And I do believe they have just finished their game that they were in only just a couple of moments ago, the New Century Table Tennis Club, and I'm assuming Sun Sports Elite, who you said earlier on were on table 16, yes, they finished as well, I think. So both those teams will be good to go once we get this match out with here.
At this point, I do want to give a word of encouragement to the technical team, the officials, the table managers, the people who have helped to set up this place. I think they really have to work very hard to make this league a success.
It's been tremendous. I mean, as so often, I was very fortunate to work on the floorball in this Al Tambani sub as well, and the dedication that comes in from these volunteers to make these events run so smoothly. I mean, that's a testament to the organisation that's gone into it. I mean, you think 34 tables, 1,000 players, 92 teams, and we're almost on time, running on schedule. Everything's gone great, smiling faces everywhere, and everyone enjoying the table tennis. You're quite right, Bernard. Absolutely sensational stuff.
Absolutely fantastic, I think.
So 7-5 in this third game. What a shot that was, by the way. He's going out with style, Jaden Fu, isn't he? He's not going down with a whimper, he's going down with a bang.
He's got a fight in him, I believe.
Now, though, as he's done in the previous 2 games, Zhang Zhen, when it gets to the business end, starts to open up. He's 3 points away from a straight games victory. Oh, the net cord comes to Jaden's aid here, just a point in it. Eight all of a sudden. Well, be some fill up if Jaden could steal a game here. And all of a
Jaden
sudden,
is now in the lead.
Where's this come from?
They clipped the net.
The ebbs and flows of table tennis at this level, it can change at the drop of a hat, can't it? And just like that, Zhang Zhen could be about to bring out match point. And he is. So, after Liu Chan's shock defeat at the hands of Shi Qishun, Yang Hai Qian and Xu Yu Tai beat Keith Teo and Ri Jisong. Chang Hua beat Dan Yueng. Li Ming Cheng and Wu Ji Qi beat David Wu and Qing Wan Kang. And now Zhang Zheng has beaten Jaden Fu. 11-5, 11-6, 11-9. Do stay with us. Bernard and myself really looking forward to this next matchup. It's the New Century Table Tennis Club taking on Sun Sports Elite in our final game of the day, and it could be a big match that has ramifications on tomorrow's placing. So stay with us on that live at 11 Sports. It's the ATT Singapore National Table Tennis League 2018.